ready for this one?
Yeah, no, we're not used to having 1 week on, 1 week off. We're not really sure what to do about it. Normally we've got much less time to prepare. But to, yeah, it's we're all pretty energised about it. Yeah, excited. Trained well today. Just come off now in the beautiful sunshine at Landarcy, and some suntan cream on. So yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I bet. Suntan cream up in Edinburgh Friday night. Don't need me to tell you it's a really important game. A win would take you above them. Just how important in the context of your season is this one?
I think they're all important, really. We talked about it. If you'd have seen, or you might have seen some of the stuff that I did around our sort of half-time sort of review, as it were. We've given ourselves an opportunity to push on, but we've got an extremely hard fixture list, and away from home, Irish provinces, away to South Africa. So, look, we've got to carry on with the same levels of effort and intensity, and keep putting our best foot forward. I know that's an obvious thing to say, but we've been very dogged and resilient, and those things are what you need when you go away from home, for sure.
Players coming back at all from injury?
Yeah, so Morgan Morris, Rhys Davis, Owen Williams, Alex Cuthbert, obviously that he came back the last time, so he's still around, which is good. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. That you don't know about.
Yeah, that's good news. Lots of experience coming back there as well. At a key point in the season when you've got players missing with Wales and things, that must be a real boost.
Yeah, there's a few coming around the corner, as I said. Getting towards the end of the Six Nations period, we're hoping to be boosted by obviously the returnees, but also the people on schedule there for people like Max Nagy, Hugh Sutton, Dowie Lake, people like Garen Phillips. They should be there or thereabouts, which would be good, because, as I said, if you can maintain some momentum and stay in the hunt, you want all your experience and your competition for places to be what they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Dowie Lake, how far away is he then?
Oh, he's not training yet, but he is on track to hit the mark. Max Nagy trained this week. Which did some training this week, which was good to see, and Hugh Sutton, so they're probably the next two that are coming. But as you can imagine, we've got to put some load and some effort into them to get a match ready,
Yeah, absolutely. Any players being released from Wales?
No, none.
Okay. Got to ask you about Warren Gatland's comments last week as well, on the regions. Just your thoughts?
Well, obviously, I don't think it was completely sort of levelled at us, if I'm honest, and obviously I saw Matt Sherratt's excellent responses yesterday, from that point of view, and he addressed obviously the Cardiff element to it, and I appreciate you've got to ask the questions, but I thought some of it was a bit inflammatory, a little bit clumsy, maybe. I think that in a time, just as a general consensus, I think he was answering a direct question, right? So everyone's entitled to opinion, that's fine. I think the big picture for Welsh rugby as a whole, as the regions, and also the Welsh team and the WI all working together, we're in a part of austerity, really, if you like, and it's already pretty half empty, a lot of the mindset around it. So I think we have a duty to try and be as half full as we can and try and fuel some inspirational stuff that we can all use and get behind, because we want things to be positive, because if we feel good about it, we're more likely to put energy into it. So I think there was a bit of a sentiment element to it, but again, that was just as I interpreted it. I think that we are, if you pick it to pieces, you're going to find stuff you like and stuff you don't like. I think that stuff around like the reset, I can only go from my own experience, right? So I came back here just after COVID, and I reset from there. If I'm honest, there was a total reset there. We won 2 games before I got here, and we needed a complete root and branch reset. So I think from a playing squad, that takes time because you have to unpick a lot of contracts, and there's multi-layers to that, and there's Welsh contracts in that. So that's always difficult. You have to assess your staff, assess what you want to do, develop a clear identity and style of play. And the big underlying bit, which I think people have seen the benefit for from the Ospreys, is I'd have said that we would grow our own players, and a lot of those young players you've seen perform exceptionally well in adversity. We've won, the majority of our games from coming from behind. So we're committed, we're fit, we're young, we find a way, and I think that speaks volumes for probably the depth of reset that we went to.
Well, thank you, Toby. That's all from me.
Well said, sir. I mean, you did say that you wanted to grow your own, and you did have a pretty grim start, didn't you, in terms of results only?
The irony of it was the start was Edinburgh away, which is rather ironic, against my old sparring partner, Richard Cockrell. So, So look, it is what it is, right? You've got to assess. You've got to. No one said it's going to be easy, and I think we all know that we want to be successful. But I hear this word collaboration a lot, and I think it's really interesting about what that actually means. Everyone talks about it. It's a very modern word in the modern world, but it's basically my interpretation of it. Needs to be a lot of support and challenge, high support, high challenge in any environment. It certainly is in our case in relation to an opportunity to get better. But the transparency in all of that, and the consistency in all that, and the actions that follow that are things where, if you're not in total control of that, that makes that difficult. So I think we've all got the right idea. I think we all want the same things. We've just got to work out how that's going to go.
Yeah. Given what Matt Sherritt's had to do at Cardiff this season, he's virtually mirrored your approach. Mm-hmm. How long do you think it's going to take for him to see some fruition on the field?
Well, I mean, the one thing I certainly would agree with Gats's comments is that you need infrastructure and you need resources, right? Now, what they look like is completely different to each group. So, Jockey outlined what he needed. From our point of view, I can only speak. We had to refresh our squad. Those are governed by things that are legal and out of your control because a lot of them are inherent. Your resources. So we moved out of Landarcy and moved to St Helens for COVID. That gave us a chance to refresh some of the stuff that was historical here, and we have a good working relationship with them. That's important. And as we move to a new ground, our plan is to have obviously an infrastructure that's all around that. So train, the Cape, offices, indoor, all that to be in one venue. So you move into the next level, and you go to the Premiership. You see places like Bristol, for example, the cutting edge, because you want to create the right environment with the right resources. So that's the physical side of it. These things cost money. They require a lot of planning and a lot of time and a lot of buy-in and a lot of investment from everybody concerned. And then you've got to get the right people. I'm absolutely delighted where we sit as of today with some of the calibre of people. I've worked a long time in different environments, from England setups to Premiership setups to different organisations across the world through CPD. And I think if I look at the quality of people, Simon Church as head of our S&C, Chris Towers, very experienced, very aligned to what high performing sport looks like, understand young players, old players, bits and pieces. So there's a massive element to get the right people to deliver it. And from a coaching point of view, that's taken time too. I think I've wanted Mark Jones to be at this place for a while. He had his own agenda, but now we've got him in place. That balance in that coaching team, the connectivity of the coaching team is very good, and that allows me the freedom to go and make sure those young players are doing what they should be doing and teaching alongside it, and be a little bit more of a support father figure for them. So it's a very multi-layered thing, but if you've got the right structures, you've got the right processes, you've got the right people, if you put talent into it with the right attitude, you normally get a decent outcome. So It's as soon as Jockey. I mean, you asked. I presume you're asking me specifically about Cardiff. It's as soon as he can get as close to what he wants in around that, the better.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting though that you went young, so to speak, and the reset you had has allowed you to examine what it's going to be required to look after those people. Similarly, at Cardiff, they're doing that. The new academy contract with the WIU hasn't been formally agreed yet, I don't think. But when that is finally sorted, do you think there's going to be a better chance for more kids to stay local and to see there's a proper pathway through? And will you have enough facilities and coaches to look after them?
I think that invariably the short answer is yes. I think the fact if you've got better calibre, better processes, better clarity on what it looks like, better outreach, call it what you want. We're talking about what that looks like to us and how we can service more people better. At the moment, it's a big piece of work that we're going through, but we've also got a lot of inspiration and quality in there. So the pathway is head up by Gareth Waters, for example, from an administration and managerial point of view. But the coaching team that deal with certainly the interface, the transition, the academy players has got Andrew Bishop, Paul James, James Hook, and Brad Davis in it. So there's a long-term coaching element in that. There's also a connectivity to the Ospreys in that. And there's a rich vein of all of the things that you need to become an Ospreys man or an Ospreys woman or whatever it may be in order to get the right people out at the end. And because being a professional sports person is hard, so having people that have been there and done it and are committed to it is really important. So I think we're set up people-wise in relation to coaching, but where it probably, I think this is something, and this was the same, this is not a Welsh problem, this is a problem of how much resources and how far you can go. So I think improvements in the amount of S&C staff you have, medical staff you have at those age groups, the connectivity, there's no surprise, the more you see your younger players, more often you see them, the better they get, because it's just frequency, right? Because they're exposed to different things, and that becomes inspirational. So I think that there is definitely some work or some improvement. I think that everyone, I can only speak for ourselves, that everyone can get in that. But as I've said earlier, we're producing players. Can we produce more? That's we're greedy, because the knock-on effect of going down and down from a financial point of view, of budget-wise. You have a greater reliance on people coming through, and now it's being done a little bit because it has to be, rather than being more deliberate about it. You've heard me talk about it before. So I think we're pretty well done, joined up with it all, but we need to keep refining it and getting better at it for sure. Yeah.
So does that mean you're going to win the title next year or the year after? No pressure.
No. That'll happen probably after I've gone, Rob, to be fair. You never know.
Great. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Hi, Toby. Simon here.
Hello, Simon. All right?
Hi, mate. Just a quick, I was going to ask you a little bit about Alex. I think we've got him coming up later, but just what he's been through. And it's been a tough year for him, but he made an impact last weekend, and it looks like he's really worked hard to get back to here again.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Cutty's great, right? And his influence in the group as an experience, and he's not a person. So we talked about support and challenge earlier. He's very supporting and challenges really well in a really nice way to make it almost feel like you're apologising for someone picking your pocket. So, in the fact that he's just got his delivery right around young players and demands an area of standards because he's been there and done it. So having him around the group has been great for us, and I think that getting him back playing, he brings different things to this team, from a physical point of view, which is great. And when you go, away from home, you need a bit more of that sort of stuff. Sometimes it's not about out-thinking, sometimes it's about out-working and out-doing. And I'm really pleased for him. He's been through a hell of a journey. And to be fair, throughout his career, I mean, we're obviously owning or part of it at the moment, but he's had to come through adversity a hell of a lot. And he's an intelligent rugby player that deserves a lot of credit, and I hope the remaining of his career is very successful for him, because he's had to do it tough for sure.
And just lastly, specifically on Edinburgh, because I think Healy's obviously been important, but he's not around, I guess, at the moment. What's the kind of the review of them being so far going into the game?
He is around. He's part of the 8 they've got back. So
Oh dear. Oh, sorry.
That's all right. No, they've got 8 back for our weekend, and obviously we don't know who that. Well, we know those 8, but they've still got to pick a team. So, yeah, they've got some very influential players and some players coming back. You know, Hamish Watson, Ali Price, etc. So there's some good players coming back. And if we're not right on it from the start, we're going to know about it. It happened to us last year with a much more experienced team than what we had, and we didn't get the start of the game right and the mindset right from the get-go. But this group that we've got now are definitely, you know, not worried about a bit of adversity, and that they've got massive resilience. So we need to start well. You always do away from home, but I'm excited to see, you know, where these boys are going to go.
That's really good luck.
Thank you.
Sorry, Toby, can I just ask, are you considering maybe inviting Gareth Anscombe to come in and train and maybe play a couple of games, or not?
No.
No.
He with Owen, Jack and Dan, I think we're well covered in that scenario, and I'm keen to keep the pathway open for them, to be fair.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
Thanks, Rob. Cheers. All good, everyone?
Hi, Toby. Can I ask a couple?
Richard. Sorry, didn't see you there.
That's all right. I was going to ask about Edinburgh. Would you say this one could be really a crucial fixture, really in deciding whether you kind of look for maybe perhaps targeting a home tie, top 4, or whether it's going to be a top 7 battle? I know that's being quite bullish, but
No, I'm not used to such confidence. No, look, I think that we just need to get in the final shake-up, right? So I think it's not a do or die fixture, but you've got to make sure you take something from it. You know, I think you need to keep picking up points and keep momentum in your season, because as from 4th to 10th every week, this league could change position very, very quickly. So every point you pick up is massive. So I think that it's important to not get carried away with any particular fixture or any particular part of it. We've got good momentum going in, especially at home. This provides us another opportunity to meet a different challenge with the players that we've got, and yeah, we'll see where that takes us. We understand probably more now than we did when we started the season of what it requires, and especially for those young players to understand what it requires to back up week on week. We're in a bit of a different cycle with having 2-week rotations at the moment, but as we saw, you know, in very dramatic style last time, if you stay in the fight and you can create an opportunity to nick it at the death, then that's might be what it takes.
And yesterday, your opposite number said that he'd like to get the win and limit you to not having the bonus points. That obviously shows that they are concerned with the progress you're making as a club.
All PR is good PR, right? So no, it's it's nice for them to be considered. They'll be worrying about themselves. We'll be worried about ourselves. But you know, come Friday, we'll find out who gets the spoils for sure.
And do you think really that some of the competition for places now will come into selection thinking for you now for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think so. It's not something we've had I think the biggest thing is not necessarily around selection. It's your ability to train competitively. You know, we've got, as you know, we've been on our travels, training against anyone that wants to train. And with us, you know, for example, we've had to rearrange a couple, and we were at Cardiff, you know, a week or so ago. We had to, Dragons and us didn't fit. But we're going to Bristol, say, for example, in March, to make sure that we can maintain that competitive edge of training. And I think when you get players back, you get an opportunity to train more competitively, which hopefully means you're used to the battle that you need to win. So I think that's the biggest thing about getting players back for sure. And by default, then you have competition for places, which means no one can rest on their laurels for sure.
And going down to the wire, it looks like with the table being so close, you're going to want all these players all fit at the same time. How do you feel this next couple of weeks are going to pan out? Have you got a target really in mind of certain particular fixtures you'd like to kind of get the results in and bonus points, or how do you think? What's your mind?
No, I mean, we know that, you know, the history will tell you going to South Africa is hard. You know, Welsh derbies are hard. Judgment Day is going to be hard. Going to Ireland is going to be hard. You know, so I mean, I think it's probably you want to perform well at home in front of your crowd for sure. You know, we've got a last 16 game to focus around. The challenge is going to come thick and fast, right? But maintain our good home form, you know, and our intensity at home. Pick up what you can on the road. That'll be the formula to get you to the final knock-ins for sure.
And finally, really, a lot of new contract signings as well. A couple more this week. You must be really pleased that everyone's really buying into this process.
Yeah, buying into the programme. Obviously, it speaks volumes of the programme, the people in the programme, the people delivering the programme. You know, and we feel privileged that they trust us with their development and their future. I mean, obviously they see a pathway to play, but also they obviously believe in what we're doing and how we're going to do it. And the more of your homegrown owns you get, you know, the emotional connection is stronger from the fans to themselves to the organisation, and I think that those things bode well. And then, you know, once we get to the bit where we can be a bit more strategic than reactive, you know, hopefully we can add a bit of stardust to support them for sure.